So we just unpacked the board here, and we're just gonna make sure everything is zeroed out. It wasn't quite, but it's pretty darn close. So we're just gonna make sure all of that looks good before we start setting up our equipment.
So as you just saw, we went through, we set up our console, got everything from the main to the monitor to the microphone, everything plugged in. Now we're gonna go through what everything's plugged into. Here we have just the XLR plugged straight into the microphone, right into channel 1. We have this big orange cable here. That's a TRS turnaround to go to our monitor. That's coming right out of aux send 1 so that we can have the control of the auxiliaries there. We have our tape input coming right from the CD player down to the bottom, and then a main out, just mono for this project since we're only using one speaker, out to an XLR turnaround into the monitor or main speaker.
All right, so we're gonna start out here. We're gonna set the preamp. We're gonna make sure that we've got some headroom and we're not peaking, but we are loud enough that, you know, we're not too close to the noise floor. We're gonna bring up the master fader so we can make sure we're hearing it out of the right speakers and everything.
This is just me going through and setting all of those preamp levels on our board. You can hear just here in a second, we'll go through the testing of that.
Okay, so we've set those levels. Now we're gonna go through and make sure that everything is good with the headroom over here on our main meters. As you can see, we've gone through and done all of our preamp gain and our unity gain over here. And if Matthew talks, you can see over here on our meters that everything is getting right up to about that last green dot, which is about exactly where we want it to be. And if I bring up the mains,
hello, I'm talking to the speakers.
You can hear him right through the mains. So now we're gonna go through and try to get our auxes and our aux send all figured out. Make sure it's set to pre-fade so that we can get everything to the performer without interrupting the flow from the mains.
You can hear me?
So we're gonna turn up the master fader for the aux send, and then the
Checking. Hey, listen to that. I can hear myself in the monitors.
You probably can't.
Now, let's turn down the master fader. If we turn down everything, you can see both of the well, you probably can't see, but both of the faders are turned down. I'm no longer in the mains, but I can still hear myself in the flow monitor because we have it set up as a pre-fade instead of a post-fade.
Very quickly now, after everything else is done, all we have to do is make sure that our CD player is set up correctly. So down here, everything's plugged in. You saw on the back, we have the cables plugged into where they need to be. I'm just gonna make sure that the tape to main mix is already clicked in. I'm gonna start a song, and then I'm gonna slowly bring up that tape in. And just like that, we have beautiful jazz coming out of our mains.
Lovely. I think I pulled it through, but that's okay.
What?
That's like comically dramatic cable winding right now.
Yeah, right? So, very quickly, as we're sitting here wrapping some cables for you, we just want to go through some of the differences between some of the types of cables. There's two cables that you'll find. You have balanced and unbalanced cables. A cable like this, the XLR that I'm wrapping here, is a type of balanced cable. It has 3 pins, 3 little coils that run through it that allow it to have longer cable runs with less noise. Then you have shorter cables, like this VCA cable for our tape input. This would be considered an unbalanced. It's just 2. They're okay, especially for shorter cable runs. You just don't want to get them super long, or that's when you're going to start getting noise. That's really the big difference between the balanced and unbalanced cables, is the noise difference and how much it's able to receive before it starts becoming too noisy, depending on how many pins it has.
Yeah, so the way that balanced cable actually works, that third wire that the unbalanced cables don't have is carrying the original signal flow, just like a normal balanced cable would, except that third cable has the signal flipped. So therefore, it's picking up all the noise and everything both of those signals are, and so they're out of phase, sorry, I guess would be the more proper way to put that. And then once they get to the end of the cable, we flip that out of phase channel back into phase, which actually puts all the noise that got picked up out of phase, and therefore the noise is canceled out. So, like Bailey said, a lot less noise.